Call to order the 3052nd meeting of the Mundelein Village Board. We need to take roll call.
Here?
Here.
Here?
Here.
Here.
Very good. Now, at this time, we have some new trustees, a new mayor, and a new village clerk to be sworn into office. So if Judge Shanes could be coming up front with us. And we need all the newly electees come up, please.
Yeah.
As you begin your new term, take this privilege to share with you a thought as you begin this kind of service to our community. Public office is a calling of uncommon commitment and requires fearless dedication to our community. Perhaps Martin Luther King said it best when he said, cowardice asks the question, is it safe? Expediency asks the question, is it politique? Vanity comes along and asks the question, is it popular? But conscience demands the question, is it right? There comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe nor politique nor necessarily popular. But he or she must do it because conscience says it is right. Yours, like mine, is a position of public trust. Be faithful to the people, be faithful to yourselves, do that which is right, and you will fulfill that public trust. And as a proud citizen of Mundelein, I couldn't be more excited for you. I'll ask you to raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Illinois.
and the State of Illinois,
That I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties
the duties
of the office to which I was elected,
of the office to which I was elected,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yay. Yeah.
Well, at this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our new mayor of Mundelein, Steve Lentz. And also, we have our new village clerk, which would be Katie Tinnerman. Very good. And I wish them both very well. I know them both very well, and I know they'll do a great job in the future, along with all our other trustees that are in place right now, and all our village officials and all our department heads, which we've all been have been chosen in the last few years. So I'm feeling that we're leaving the village in good hands here. So good luck to everyone, and hey, wish y'all good luck too. Take care.
Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have some signatures to sign right away before we get going, and before that, I'd like to present some flowers to my beautiful bride and wife, Michelle Lentz.
Aw. Yeah, they are.
Congratulations again.
All right. Before we get started, I'll just have a few words. Looking out over the faces here, so many familiar faces and so many family members, friends, and supporters. And I know, I'll just, if you guys can just raise your hand, and we're going to have Holly and Don, if you have any family members, just family members of myself, Don, or Holly, just raise your hand so you know who each other are there. All right? Great. You know, it's been so much work for all of us over the last few months, and just want to thank you for attending and thank you for your support on behalf of everyone here. Greatly appreciated. And, you know, we've had the last month a great transition period, and I just want to thank staff for really going the extra mile in helping us all get prepared for this transition over the last month. So great job there. We have a pretty long evening in front of us. Many different topics: townhome development, second Cardinal Square building, a go-kart track we'll talk about, bids for the street project, and paying of bills and everything. So, did you want to introduce? I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead. Introduce your family, and we'll just.
You guys can all stand. So my family.
Here we go.
Okay. There's my husband and my son Malachi, Kelly and Wendy, and there's my mom and my dad. And my son Jeff. He's not really family, but almost is. Oh, there's a lot of people here. Hey. Oh, and the Korean news are here. Hey.
Thank you. Dawn?
My husband and my daughter, my husband Mark, my daughter Maggie, and my daughter Acacia, and my very good friend Cindy, right there with the mom.
All right.
Aw.
Clerk Timmerman.
My son is taking finals in college this week, and my daughter is I saw her yesterday, though.
All right. You guys want to stand up? My family, my wife Michelle, Mary and Anna, my mother-in-law V. Come on, stand up, V. My son John, and my daughter Amy. Mary and Amy flew in from out of state to be here with us tonight, so thank you very much. Love you guys. Thanks. All right. All right, so without further ado, let's see here. I think let me just get that going. Okie dokie, here we go. Approval of minutes. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Any discussion?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a typo on page 56 of the. Wait, are we at approval of minutes? Yeah, okay. Where trustee Semple thanked Mayor Kessler, trustee Semple, and clerk Dahlstrom, it should be trustee Nutschnig.
Good catch.
Okay, there was a typo there, so just make the notation that approval of minutes was subject to that typo, okay? Any other discussion? All right, clerk, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Present.
Mayor Lentz? Mayor Lentz, my family did make it.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ray.
They just walked in.
Oh, they did? Okay. Right when we're done. Okay. Very good. Now, would she call me since I was present last time? So go ahead and call my name. Yes. Very good. Motion carries. Before we move on to public commentary, trustee Semple, want to introduce your family?
My wife and my son Joe and my daughter Maggie are all in the back. I do have a family. Thank you.
All right. Now we move on to the portion of the meeting for public commentary. Anyone want to make some public comments this evening? Okay. We'll close the floor and move on. We have a presentation of awards. That's the next portion. There's no presentation or awards right now. And we move on to part 7, which would be public hearings. No, not yet. We're at public hearings, part 7. Oh, okay. We're at public hearings. We don't close this down yet, though. And we need a motion for that? Okay. Very good. We're going to go to a public hearing at this point related to Hickory Woods. And first, we need a motion to recess this meeting.
I'll move.
Second.
Motion by Sullivan, second by Voss. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Here.
Yes.
Yes.
Now we need a motion to begin the public hearing related to Hickory Woods.
So moved.
Motion by Voss, second by Abernathy. Discussion on the motion? Clerk, please call the roll. Abernathy.
Yes.
Okay. Voss,
Yes.
Abernathy? Yes. Meyer,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Now we need to take roll. Right?
So we just start here with the top, just the
Yep.
trustees, right?
Yep.
Okay. Abernathy? Here. Kim?
Here.
Meyer?
Here.
Semple?
Here.
Sullivan? Voss?
Here.
Very good. At this point, we would call the meeting to order, the public hearing, and there are rules of procedure. And we're first going to have opening remarks by our petitioner. Then there'll be, that'll include the annexation agreement, parts A, B, and C, and then we'll close the public hearing. Okay, so the petitioner, all right, is John Carroll? Okay. Mr. Carroll, do you want to just give us a 5-minute, just a short synopsis of what you're doing, okay?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. My name is John Carroll. I'm the president of the Chicago Division of Ryland Homes, and I'm here tonight to talk about Hickory Woods. As I'm sure all of you know, Hickory Woods is a townhome neighborhood of that was originally intended for 34 townhomes. A number of years ago, I'm not quite sure how many, but it had been probably 6 or so years ago, or five years ago. Yeah. The community, the existing community went out of business as it was. We have been working with staff over the last several months to put together a deal to restart that neighborhood and start selling and building in there again. We're working with MV1 LLC, who is going to be working on the developer part of it. Mr. Wayne Rogers is here tonight with me as well from MV1. And basically what we're looking to do is we're purchasing the remaining 18 units that are have yet to be built, the existing building of 4 units, which was partially constructed and then abandoned, as well as the one existing model home that's out there. Our approach to this is going to be, we intend to sell the existing model home that's there, complete the construction of the 4-unit building, which is, and then build 18 new units that we've designed for that market. It's kind of a mixed bag as far as what we're doing. The existing model is what it is. The 4-unit building, we're making a few modifications to the floor plans, but nothing really too dramatic because it's kind of fixed as to what we can and can't do within that building that's already constructed. And then we've designed 2 new floor plans for the 18 units that are remaining, which can be built either on the end or in the middle, so it gives us some flexibility there from a marketing standpoint. For those of you that, this will be the first opportunity for Ryland Homes to build in Mundelein, even though we've been in the Chicago market for about 20 years and been in business for 45 years. It's also, I've been in the business for my whole life, and it's my first opportunity to build in Mundelein. So we're really excited about it. I'm here to answer any questions that you have about our intentions, our plans there, or about Ryland Homes, and I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much. At this point, we would need, if there's any questions or statements by the public, now's the time for anyone in the public that wants to make a statement or ask a question of Mr. Carroll. No? Okay. At this point, we would have any questions by the trustees of Mr. Carroll regarding this. Okay. Great. Well, thank you very much. I think we're all excited about this, and thank you for coming to Mundelein and doing this. At this point, do I have a motion? Right, we're ready to adjourn. Need a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
Second.
Motion by Abernathy, second by Meyer. Any discussion on the motion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Abernathy? Yes. Meyer?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Voss?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Very good. Now we need a motion to reconvene the village board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Voss, second by Meyer. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Voss?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Abernathy? Yes.
Very good. Now we need to take roll.
Okay. Abernathy? Here. Kim?
Here.
Meyer?
Here.
Semple?
Here.
Sullivan?
Here.
Voss?
Still here.
All right. Village board meeting's reconvened, and we're moving to the mayor's report. And part A in your packet there, under the mayor's report, is I need a motion to pass an ordinance amending Ordinance 65-07-24, establishing rules of order for the Board of Trustees of the Village of Mundelein, Lake County, Illinois. This is Exhibit 3.
So moved.
Seconded.
Motion by Voss, second by Kim. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Voss?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Abernathy? Yes. Semple?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next, in Exhibit 4 is the mayoral committee assignments. You can look there and just see what those assignments are. We have committees, and there are 3 trustees assigned to each committee, and it's listed in Exhibit 4. Next is Exhibit 5 and 6. This relates to the National Public Works Week, and then the National Emergency Medical Services Week. This is nationwide, just a week to honor those workers in public works for the efforts that they do day in, day out throughout the year to serve us in the area of streets, snow plowing, very dedicated employees that we have, and really nationwide, and also in the emergency medical services, all the first responders. This is a week nationwide where we recognize the efforts of those men and women who are on the front lines of responding and are the first to show up, and if you need their services, you're always very happy that they show up. So we want to honor them this week. Exhibit 7, I need a motion to adopt a resolution confirming the election of Ray Semple as Mayor Pro Tem. Okay, that was motion by Meyer, second by Abernathy. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Meyer,
Yes.
Abernathy, Semple.
Say yes.
Was I not supposed to call him?
That's okay.
No, it's all
Okay.
right.
Boss,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Sir. Motion passes. Very good. Moving on to Exhibit 8. I need a motion to pass an ordinance amending Ordinance 05-05-34, an ordinance appointing a director and an alternative director to represent the Village of Mundelein on the Central Lake County Joint Action Water Agency, Exhibit 8.
So moved.
Motion by Kim, second by Trustee Abernathy. Any discussion on the motion? No? Clerk, please call the roll.
Kim,
Yes.
Abernathy, Boss,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Motion passes. Very good. Next, a motion to pass. I need a motion to pass an ordinance amending Ordinance 96-12-46, the Mundelein Sign Ordinance Exhibit 9.
So moved.
Seconded.
Motion by Voss, second by Trustee Kim. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Boss,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Abernathy, Sullivan,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next is a meeting call. We're going to have a committee of the whole meeting on June 10th at 6 p.m., probably across the way in the room across the hall there. This is going to regard the CV drainage project, and it's just going to be a good time for all of us to really get briefed on the CV drainage situation and the project that we're considering there. So that's a meeting call. Under other reports, we have 3 motions under Party Fantasy. This is Exhibit 10. And first is a motion to accept the Planning and Zoning Commission's minutes and findings of fact.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Meyer, second by Voss. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just for everybody's benefit, this is a request by Party Fantasy to open up a go-kart facility outdoor in their parking lot. That's what we're doing right now.
Yep. Anyone else? Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Meyer,
Yes.
Boss,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Abernathy, Semple,
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next, a motion to accept the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendations.
So moved.
Motion by Kim, second by
Second.
Meyer. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Kim,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Semple,
Yes.
Boss,
Yes.
Sullivan,
He said no.
Abernathy.
Motion carries. Finally, under this category, a motion to authorize staff to draft an ordinance granting a special use allowing outdoor entertainment for Party Fantasy at 342 Town Line Road in Mundelein.
So moved.
Motion by Meyer. Second by Kim. Any discussion?
Yes, please, Mr. Mayor. The first thing is, could Trustee Sullivan, would you like to share with us why you're voting no?
Well, the motion was to approve the recommendation, and the recommendation was to grant the variance.
Okay.
And I don't think that I have enough information. I don't think the Plan Commission had enough information in regards to just what it is and what the implications were for public safety, other aspects of the petition. And therefore I voted no.
So,
So I'm looking for more information, and that's what we can discuss under the motion on the floor.
so is the petitioner here? Did I-
Yep, Mr. Moore, do you want to come on up? Thank you.
So in this petition that went before the Plan Commission, there was some discussion about what kind of a walkway there would be between Party Fantasy and the outdoor track, and it seemed a little vague to me. Have you resolved that anymore?
Everything is on a plan. The walkway is between the building into the front of the track.
And it will be a striped crosswalk?
Yes.
Or, and will there be any like cones or something that?
There will be cone, and there will be a person in charge of safety.
Okay. So someone just in charge of safety in addition to someone at the track?
In addition to the cones and stripes of the walkway.
Okay. And these are going to be gasoline go-karts.
Yes.
And you've talked to the fire department and worked out how that gasoline will be delivered and stored.
Yes, we did.
And you have a place that you're going to store these so they won't be an attractive nuisance
Yes, we
when
did.
they're not in use.
Yes, we do.
And so will people go up into Party Fantasy, like get tickets, pay, whatever, and then come out and show their, is that,
That's how it's going to work. Everything's going to go through the Party Fantasy upstairs,
okay,
and then they will go into the track.
okay. And are you inviting the board to come when you get these cars?
Absolutely.
All right. I have no further questions.
Trustee Abernathy.
What are the hours of operation that you're thinking about for this facility to be open?
10 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the afternoon, 8 o'clock in the evening.
10 to 8,
Yeah.
7 days a week?
Same hour as the existing Party Fantasy hours,
Also just the weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
except on the off days for school. When school is off, Party Fantasy is open.
7 days a week?
Yes.
So 7 days a week, come in a month, you're going to be open from 10 to 8?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and right now there's trailers that are located on that lot. Where are those trailers going to go?
This trailer is going to be moved into our stores. We have 7 locations for our stores, so
Okay, so those trailers won't be...
they won't be there. That's where the track is proposed to be.
Okay, and then you will be getting in touch with the state of Illinois because there'll also be licensed through the state, correct?
There is no licensing needing for go-kart.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. There is licensing that's needed for go-karts.
There is 6 different in Illinois, 6 go-kart locations in Illinois, including the one in Buffalo Grove and
The one in Christoph's in Round Lake, which I was at today, and that's where they said that they have to be, you have to be regulated by the state, you have to be inspected by the state, and have a permit from the state to use any kind of go-kart. So are the indoor go-karts, do you have a license from the state for the indoor go-karts?
No.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, that's just something that we'll check into. I mean, if it's a requirement of the state, then he'll be licensed. If it's not a requirement, then he won't be.
We'll check it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, tonight's action at the board, it's authorization to draft an ordinance, so we'll have an answer for the board before this comes back on the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Sure.
The ordinance we're going to put together, if we do realize that the go-karts were a mistake due to being too noisy for the area, or if it becomes a nuisance that the police department has to tend to frequently, we can have it shut down pretty quickly if needed, correct?
Well, that's dependent on the provisions of the ordinance. If the ordinance does provide for that, yes, you would have to give the petitioner an opportunity to be heard before the variance would be determined at a public meeting. So that, if that's the desire of the board, that can be written into the ordinance. We've done that.
I'll support this concept if we have that provision where we can terminate it if we realize that it was not a wise thing to do. We've never had anything like this in the village, and up until earlier today, I was opposed to this, but I'm willing to be a little open-minded. But if the village believes we made a mistake based upon police department or public safety or for complaints, I think we should have the right to shut it down. Being it's more of a temporary type use, he's just installing the barricades and the track on his existing parking lot. It seems as though it could, and he's going to be seasonal anyhow. So I think we need to be able to have the ability to shut it down. Bad.
Trustee Semple, is there a time frame? Like, so do you want this renewed in 6 months? Do you just want
Well,
to
he's
say
gonna-
that if we have excessive?
He's going to go through, he's going to shut the go-karts down seasonally, right?
Yes, sir.
So I would say, we can review it after this first go-around, after this first season, and as long as we have the ability, after giving him notice to shut it down, I'm okay with that. But I don't want to get stuck with this thing for perpetuity if it's a problem. This is new ground for us. Inside is one thing. It doesn't bother anybody else outside the building. But outdoor, I don't know. There are residents over there. They're not Mundelein residents. But I just think we need to be cognizant of that. And we don't know what kind of clientele it's going to attract in the evenings. Is it going to be something the police are going to be having to spend a lot of time? Or are they going to enjoy going there themselves? Maybe. I don't know. Don't know.
So, in hours of operation, I'm thinking that if we set this ordinance, it'll be to the hours of operation that you're saying now, 10 till 8. Because,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, because I could see it wanting to go later. The idea is, and I think it's a good one, and I have been back and forth about this. I think it's a great idea. I don't want to put it down, but I do think we need to have the correct licensing for it. From what I looked into about this, you do have to have some sort of, and we'll check on that, some sort of state certification, I guess is what it is for this. And then, but I do think it's good to have our young adults have some place to go and something to do, and it sounds kind of fun. So I'm kind of both sides of this.
There's one in Buffalo Grove, which is less than 5 miles from here, so you guys can go and look at it.
Right.
And I think it's very upscale, and it's beautiful, and people come from 25, 30 miles, and it's a family time. And
What time is that open till?
I don't know. It's not mine. I think it's open too late because it's in.
That's what I'm getting at. So is this, because I have a feeling you're going to want to stay open later.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, and again, if we're going to review this after the first season, if Mr. Moore is extremely successful and we don't have any problems, then he might want to come back and say, let's extend those hours a little bit and, you know, after we try it for a year, then that's something that can be considered if your business model changes.
Well, before I came to this town, we didn't have a grocery store over there. We have a wonderful, great grocery store, and we have Party Fantasy, and we got everything else over there. So, you know, just look at my track record for the last 20 years in Buffalo Grove, and I'm sorry, in Mundelein, and you see how much sales tax revenue we generate for you. It's by far better than any grocery store in town. So, and I hope you guys will take time to go upstairs and look at the Party Fantasy and take some pride in what we build in this village. So, and we have a go-kart track upstairs. So it's not any different than the Menard having their lumber outside. We want to have outside, just like we put flowers outside in our grocery store.
Anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sullivan.
I tend to agree with the negative vote on the finding of fact from the Plan Commission that presented the thought that this doesn't fit with the commercial aspects of this location, that this is a recreational use, not a commercial use. However, since you own most of that property.
Right. When somebody mentioned that noise with the neighbors, I own the entire property around front and back.
So let's go on to some more specific concerns. These are gasoline-powered go-karts. What
Yes,
is
sir.
what is the engine size on these?
It's 6.5 horsepower Honda.
Be like a 6.5 horsepower lawnmower.
I'm not a landscaper, but it could be.
Makes a lawnmower engine that's 6.5 horsepower.
Except lawnmower does not have a muffler on it, where this thing has
How
muffler.
many go-karts could be on the track? What's the maximum number of go-karts that could be on the track?
On the track, 10.
10?
Yes.
10 6.5 horsepower go-karts.
Yes.
You have shown this site plan, and I understand that you have a 3-foot concrete wall on the interior and exterior portion of the track, and a fence on top of that.
Yes, sir.
Where are these tires that will be located? They are inside the track?
On the inside of the track.
And these vehicles will go as fast as 20 miles an hour?
Yes.
You mentioned that this might have this would be accessible to bachelor and bachelorette parties, and of course, you have a liquor license.
I don't know anything about.
You serve alcohol in your facility?
Not in this one, no.
No.
No, you don't?
No.
Oh, I thought people could bring alcohol in.
No.
No, that's okay. Well, that relieves me of one of my great concerns.
I don't know where you came up with bachelor and bachelorette, but
All right. Okay.
it's not in the draft.
But I'd like to tell you, I don't know, not been to a lot of bachelor or bachelorette parties lately, but the ones that I remember from years ago always had some alcohol at them. And this wouldn't be the case with any party in your facility, no alcohol whatsoever.
I don't know where you come up with bachelor and bachelorette.
No.
It's a.
Okay. That said, the go-karts that run on the inside track are electric.
Yes, sir.
And much slower and much quieter.
Smaller.
Why can't you do the electric on this outside track?
Because we attract kids from the age of toddler to teen. And the one upstairs, it's really for toddler because of the size of the building.
I think that the carts are too loud and they're too fast.
It's your opinion.
Okay, and I can't support it. Sorry. All I have.
Any other comments? Trustee Meyer.
Yeah, there were 2 Planning and Zoning Commission meetings, and at the first one there were concerns expressed, and at the second meeting you addressed 95% of those concerns by moving the track further north, providing more landscaping, providing fire-rated cabinet for gasoline storage, and agreed to implement additional safety measures. Could you expand on what those safety measures were?
Yes, ma'am. The neighbor next door, the tile store, wanted us to move the track back, and we had no issue with this. I think it makes sense, and working with the village, and we moved it back, and we didn't resolve 95%. We resolved 100% of the issue. So we moved it back.
What additional safety measures did you add?
The sidewalk to the crosswalk between the building and the track, and the additional manpower to be in the front of the track.
Okay, so that's what they were referring to in that. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I'll just throw in my comment here. That does, it's impressive that Century Tile started out being one of the main objectors, and you guys worked.
Right, and now we're good friends, and we're negotiating and trading some properties.
Right, and you worked it out, and they showed up at the second meeting and were very agreeable to this, and so.
Yes, sir.
And so I certainly am in favor of this. I would appreciate in the ordinance, though, that we do have a degree of fluidity and being able to just see how it goes with the safety issues and some of the things that could come up as we go. So
we have at stake a lot more than anybody, and you know, Garden Fresh and Party Fantasy, it's much concern about the safety of our children, because basically we entertain kids over there, and it's very important for us that everybody is safe.
Okay, we ready? Clerk, please call the roll.
Meyer,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Sullivan,
No.
Semple,
Yes.
Abernathy, Voss.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
There you go. Next on the agenda, Exhibit 11, Cardinal Square, Fourth Amendment. First, we have a motion to pass an ordinance approving Fourth Amendment to redevelopment agreement for Cardinal Square. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved by Semple, second by Voss,
Kim.
or excuse me,
Kim.
second by Kim. Do we have any discussion on the motion, or should we just? Before we have discussion by the trustees, we're going to have Matt Norton come on up and explain a few changes to us, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just as a reminder, and especially to the new trustees, my name is Matt Norton. I'm a partner at Holland & Knight, and I'm special counsel to the village on the Cardinal Square development matter. So we were here April 22nd, and the board at that time directed staff to prepare the three ordinances that are before you this evening, and we gave a fairly detailed presentation at that time. There were two open issues at the time, and those have been resolved, at least as between staff and the developer, and they're included in the documents that you would approve tonight. The first one had to do with what percentage of the tax increment would be devoted towards repaying the TIF notes that are due to the owners of Cardinal Square. The original redevelopment agreement pledged 34%, and staff and the trustee negotiating team was proposing 40%. As of April 22nd, the owner was asking for a higher amount. They have since relented on that and are willing to agree to the 40%. The second issue involved the condominium association, and when this was approved in 2005, the redevelopment agreement required a single condominium association for all 9 buildings. There is a 10-year time limit under state law for adding property to a condominium association. The thought back then was they created the association, included just one building, Building A, and they were going to do what's called an add-on condominium and add the remaining 9 buildings, the remaining 8 buildings over a 10-year period. Then the world changed significantly, and it's become clear that they're not going to be able to add those remaining 8 buildings within the 10-year time frame. So the issue was, would we amend the agreement to require a master condo association, or would we let them form multiple condominium associations up to a total of 9? And the way that we have negotiated it in the agreement is that the owner would be allowed to form multiple condominium associations up to 9 for the entire Cardinal Square development. There would not be a master association required, but the village would reserve the right, when each of those new condominium associations came along, to require that declaration reserve easements and covenants, not just to the owners of that building being presented, but to the owners of units of other condominium buildings in the project. For example, there may be cross-parking or cross-access easements and covenants that the village would want to make sure those unit owners and other buildings had. So it's a way to give the owner flexibility to satisfy the time requirements under state law, but also give the village the ability to require covenants and easements where it's appropriate to protect unit owners of other buildings. So those were the two open issues, and those have been resolved, again, at least as between staff and the developer. They're in the documents that you would approve this evening. There are a couple of other changes that I wanted to bring to your attention that would be in the final documents versus what went out in the agenda packet. And one was simple. That was just to change the effective date from April 22nd for the Fourth Amendment to the redevelopment agreement to May 13th, today's date. The second was in the ordinance approving the replacement TIF note, and that, again, as we discussed last time, is an ordinance that would combine the two TIF notes that are out there existing into one. The accrued interest stated in the ordinance that went out in your agenda packet was incorrect. That has since been corrected in the final version. Your agenda version said that the accrued interest on the Tier 1 note was $1,153,411. That actual amount is $1,254,984. And then on the Tier 2 note in the agenda version, the amount was $101,400. The correct amount is $108,733. So those amounts have been corrected and are in the final versions that would be approved this evening.
Any questions? I just want to clarify, when we have all these different condo associations, we're going to coordinate it so that the common elements that are common to several will be accounted for and coordinated. There won't be any turf battles or any of that.
That's specifically what the village reserves the right to do, to identify common elements that benefit multiple buildings and require the owner to create covenants and easements that allow those common elements to be used and maintained by all those benefited.
Right, and so there won't be any common elements that are unclaimed and fall on us, right?
That's right.
They'll all be accounted for, okay? All right, let's start with first motion. I need a motion to pass an ordinance approving Fourth Amendment to redevelopment agreement in Cardinal Square.
Didn't you have it?
Did I already do that?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Clerk, please call the roll.
Semple?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Sullivan? Voss?
Yes.
Abernathy? Meyer?
Yes.
Motion carries. Very good. Next, need a motion to pass an ordinance amendment to special use permit and development concept plan and approving final plan for Building C, subphase for planned unit development in Cardinal Square.
So moved.
Motion by Semple.
Second.
Second by Voss. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Is there a time that will allow this ordinance to expire at a certain point? The ordinance, the amendment to the ordinance for special use development concept plan?
The developer, the owner is required to submit 3 items by July 31st of this year. One is the required subdivision security for the public improvements that will be part of this Building C subphase. The second is an executed subdivision improvement agreement for those public improvements, and then the third is a construction schedule for public improvements. And I'm sorry, the fourth thing is a construction traffic plan. So all those items need to be submitted by July 31st of 2013, or the ordinance is null and void. And then the developer has to break ground by has to break ground on the building by June 30th of next year in order to receive some of the incentives in the Fourth Amendment.
All right, so there's a time.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, clerk, please call the roll.
Semple?
Yes.
Voss?
Yes.
Abernathy? Meyer?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Motion carries. Finally, a motion to pass an ordinance canceling the current Tier 1 TIF note and Tier 2 TIF note and approving a combined TIF note.
So moved.
Seconded.
Motion by Meyer, second by Voss.
Nope.
Kim.
Oh, second by Kim. I'm looking. Any discussion?
Oh, yes, Mr. Mayor, if I might ask another
Trustee
question.
Sullivan.
In terms of the redevelopment notes, Part D of the amendment on number 1, it talks about 8% per annum for the Tier 1 note and Tier 2 note. Now, this 8% is going away because we now have just one note.
That's right.
Binding it at 6%.
That's right.
Non-compounded.
Non-compounding, right. So there will be no interest on interest.
Anyone else? Okay, just as an aside, Mr. Norton, it's anticipated they're going to start construction this summer, though, right?
Yes.
That's the anticipation. And,
Yes.
this is the second building in the Cardinal Square development. I think it's just a fantastic development that we're going to get a building started so soon after Village Hall breaks ground. It's just great progress. So, very nice. Let's go ahead with the roll. Clerk, please call the roll.
Meyer?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Yes.
Sullivan? Voss?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Abernathy?
Motion carries. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Okay. Finally, under the other reports, number 3 there, in Exhibit 12, a motion to adopt a resolution approving and authorizing execution of Second Amendment to employment agreement with the village administrator.
Make the motion.
Motion by Semple, second by Trustee Abernathy. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I was out of town on business when this was discussed in executive session, so I'm just going to vote present on this item.
Very good. Other discussion? Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Semple?
Yes.
Abernathy?
Yes.
Voss?
Yes.
Meyer?
Present.
Kim?
Present.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Motion passes. And that is it for those. We now move on to trustee reports. Public Works Committee. Trustee Meyer?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The first item on the Public Works Committee is with the GIS agreement, and that would be Exhibit Public Works-1. And I'd like to make a motion to authorize the village administrator sign one-year contract with the GIS Consortium Service Provider, Municipal GIS Partners, Inc., in the amount of $112,800.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Sullivan. Any discussion? Nope. Clerk, please call the roll.
Meyer?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Voss?
Yes.
Abernathy? Kim?
Yes.
Motion carries.
And the second and final motion for Public Works would be a motion to authorize the purchase of a replacement utility van and accessories in the not-to-exceed amount of $34,400, and that would be Exhibit Public Works-2. That motion?
Second.
Second by Semple. Discussion?
I had a question. Is this, is this amount just like a sticker price, or can it be haggled? Or is there a municipality discount?
Yes.
That's already in consideration?
Yeah, this one is a little bit different in that this vehicle was involved in an accident that totaled it, and it's one of our frontline vehicles for the water division, and so we have an immediate need to replace that vehicle, and so it's the best price that we can get from a dealer price. So we looked at purchasing our other vehicles, think we might get a better discount, but we didn't, so we're going to do the others on a state purchase, which is, you know, a little bit better pricing. But the lead time on the state is months.
3 months.
3 months. And so we're really forced to do something about that now. But yeah, we haggled with them.
Okay.
So.
Excuse me, you might want to know that we did receive some insurance money on that as well.
All right.
How old was, I'm sorry, how old was that van that we only got, you know, $12,500 for it?
Probably about 6 years, if I remember correctly, but don't quote me on that.
Good news is nobody was hurt.
Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Meyer,
Yes.
Semple,
Yes.
Abernathy, Kim,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries.
And that would be all I have tonight.
Thank you, Trustee Meyer. Next, Finance Committee, Trustee Sullivan.
Mr. Mayor, this evening we have 3 motions. The first is one to approve the minutes of the April 15th Finance Committee meeting, and I will make that motion for approval. Need a second.
Second.
Wait, no. Oh,
The second would be from Meyer. And then there's going to be yourself, Meyer, and myself, right? Okay. So go to. Clerk, please call the roll.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Lentz.
Yes.
Second motion is one to approve the departmental purchase order for $67,000 to AT&T and $19,800 to AT&T Mobility. And as noted in your bill list, I'll make that motion.
second.
Motion by Sullivan, second by Voss. Discussion. Clerk, please call the roll. Yes. Yeah.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Voss,
Yes.
Abernathy, Kim,
Yes.
Meyer,
Abstain.
Semple,
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. Now, just before we get going, I want to make sure we have our mics turned on because is yours on?
Mine's on. Yeah.
Okay. Because I've heard about it from some residents telling me, hey, can you make sure the mics are on? So just double check in there, okay? Very good. Trustee Sullivan?
Thank you. This evening on the omnibus list of motions, and actually, thank you for the reminder, not only turn the mics on, but talk up. At any rate, the sum of those bills is $1,029,902.38. Some of the more significant payments to be made are to the Joint Action Water Agency for Lake Michigan Water, $181,196, and 3 bills to Weston Solutions. The largest one, $178,950.18. This is, I believe, the first payment that we will make towards the actual construction costs of the new Village Hall Weston building. Unless anyone has a question in regard to...
You have one more motion.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'll make that motion. We ought to approve it, huh?
Yeah.
There.
Second that.
Well, wait a minute. There were.
It's number 3.
Right, it's the third one. It's
Right.
for $12,686.99. Trustee
Oh, there was
Meyer.
another motion?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the one that you were,
No, he was talking the bill list.
Well, the bill list isn't part of his motions.
I understand that, that's why
Oh,
we're
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I got
discussing
you.
it.
Just do number 3 there.
We'll wait.
Okay.
You wanted me to do number 3, payment of bills to date. Through AT&T for $12,686.99. I'll make that motion.
And I'll still second it.
Motion by Sullivan, second by Voss. Discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Voss,
Yes.
Semple,
Yes.
Meyer,
And I'll still abstain.
Abernathy, Kim.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, now, that's all I have. Unless anyone has a question. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Public Safety Committee, Trustee Semple.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have 2 motions on the agenda for public safety this evening. The first motion is to pass an ordinance amending ordinance number 70-07-18 with respect to full-time police officers, seen as exhibit number PS in your PS1 in our board packets this evening. So I'll make that motion.
Need a second?
Second?
Second by Voss. Discussion.
Chief Gunther, do you want to give us a 2-sentence explanation what we're doing here?
Yes.
Real quick.
Previously, the board had allowed me to increase the sergeant's number from 5 sergeants to 6 in anticipation of a retirement of the sergeant, allowed me to fill that position early. That sergeant has now retired, and all of that is secured, so now we can convert back to the previous number of 5 sergeants. And that's what you're approving this evening.
Thank you.
Other discussion? Very good. Clerk, please call the roll.
Semple,
Yes.
Voss,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I have a second motion, and Chief Gunther, I'll ask the same thing on this motion, just for the benefit of the newly elected officials that are here this evening. I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement between the Mundelein Park District and the Village of Mundelein for police protection for the Park District properties, seen as exhibit number PS-2 in our board packets this evening. So I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion by Semple, second by Sullivan. Discussion?
Chief Gunther?
This is an agreement between the police department and the park district in order to provide police services to the various parks within the village. The agreement has been in existence for several years, expired on March, and this is bringing forth to renew that contract for another 4 years. And there's a payment from the park district to the police department in the amount of $50,000 per year for 4 years for the services provided in the parks.
Thank you, Chief.
Other discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Semple,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Abernathy,
Yes.
Voss,
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, 2 more items. I'd like to turn the floor over to Chief Gunther. I believe he has the 18th Amazing Mundelein coming up and some other items too. Chief, go ahead.
We do. There's a few things I'd like to bring to your attention. Amazing Mundelein is this Saturday from 8 o'clock till 1 o'clock. We are in need of volunteers still. We're at about 50 to 60 with a whole lot of maybes. And we have 40 jobs currently. In other words, 40 citizens that have requested assistance for that day. Again, it'll begin at 8 o'clock. We also have what's called the pond cleanup, and that's taking place on June 1st. I bring that up now because I don't think we have another board meeting until after that in June. That is the area immediately located north of the Mundelein High School. It's part Park District property. It's also owned by the Department of Transportation in the 53 right-of-way, and then several private owners along Route 176. That project is set for June 1st, and we have about 75 to 80 volunteers that will be coming out that day to clean up that entire area. It's become a point where kids gather, they smoke and drink between classes in school and afterwards, and there's things like couches out there and fire pits and so on and so forth. And so This was identified by many of the high school students as a problem. They brought it to our attention through some of our community groups, and we've gotten together with them and brought in several of the partners to clean that area out. The Department of Transportation has already been out there and virtually ground down to the ground many of their areas, took down many of the trees and brush so that it's easily seen from the roadways. So that's June 1st, 8 a.m. And we have a Citizen Academy graduation on May 30th at 7 o'clock. And I believe the mayor is set to speak at that event. And that is it, sir.
Thank you, Chief. And then Chief Sashko, I believe you've had a couple events since our last meeting and probably have a few coming up, I imagine, too.
Actually,
Floor is yours.
nothing on the horizon coming up, but I do want to thank the community for the outstanding turnout we had for our blood drive on April 27th, and of course last weekend the Exchange Club breakfast and Salvation Army clothing drive. That really was successful. The Salvation Army was very appreciative of the partnership and being able to set that up here. In fact, they're actually asking us if we're going to be willing to put in a permanent donation box here. So we'll be looking at that in the near future to see if it'll fit our property. And then just a reminder to the board that on Thursday the 16th coming up that we do have this training, the fire training we're going to be doing. We did send a notice out to the board. So if you're interested in joining us with that, you can see me after the meeting tonight. We'll get you set up.
And either chief, do we need a public safety committee meeting anytime soon? Meeting call at all? Very good, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Very good. Next, Community and Economic Development Committee, Trustee Voss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a few motions and a few announcements, and I'm going to start with the announcements. We have 3 new businesses that have opened, and again, I read these businesses off at every meeting in the hopes that our residents and other businesses will support new businesses to help keep them in Mundelein. So the first one is called Alternative Source Medical. It's at 1700 South Butterfield Road, distributor of pre-owned and new model medical equipment. Next, we have Marcus Interiors Upholstery, which is located at 18 East Park Street, which does reupholstery. It's a reupholstery shop for furniture. And last, we have OK Tailor Shop, which is at 444 East Holly Street. As the name implies, it's a tailor. Also, last Wednesday was a phenomenally successful first Park on Park of the season. For those of you who have attended them before, you know that May is frequently a little iffy weather-wise, but it was a great attendance and good weather. Because we don't have another board meeting coming up, I need to also announce that Relay for Life will be held June 8th into 9th at Carmel High School. I do have a Relay for Life team, my little plug. I am on the team that is, for the last few years, has been the largest fundraiser for the GLMV Chamber for the Relay for Life. And this Sunday, we are having our fundraiser at Crossroads. So if you guys are looking for something to do from 3 to 8, or you have something you want to donate for our raffle, please see me. And then moving on to the agenda items. The first thing is that before our board meeting tonight, we had a permits committee regarding a sign variance for Hickory Woods LLC subdivision. And so I would make a motion asking, thank you, that the recommendation of the permits committee be approved, allowing this sign variation.
Okay, we have a motion.
I need a second.
We need a second.
I'll second.
Second by Kim. Any discussion?
Put in the form of an ordinance?
Coming up.
Somebody drafted?
Yes.
Right now, we're just approving what the permits committee did.
Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes.
Yes.
all of us.
This is everybody.
Accepting the recommendation.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Very good. Motion carries.
Thank you. The next up is in regards to our City View software upgrade. We use City View software already for the building department, but it is a little out of date. I'm being kind. And so this is to purchase, the motion is to authorize the purchase of the City View software upgrade and to authorize the village administrator to sign the purchase order with City View in the amount of $58,747 as seen as Exhibit CED-1 in your packet. And there is a financial incentive. They are giving us some extra things as long as we do this by a certain date. So I will make that motion, and I need a second.
Second by Abernathy. Discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Now, this software, isn't this also going, is this part of the software that will allow the residents or businesses to make the inspections online and track the inspections and also some of the permitting?
Yes.
Online permitting process?
Yes, it will. It'll allow us to do the remote access inspection, and our customers can log in and check the status of plan reviews and their projects and so on.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you. So we're excited to get that started, though. Unfortunately, I've been told it will take about 6 months to get it up and running. So at least we're starting.
Yeah.
And that's all I have for tonight.
Okay. Next, we have our first report from a new committee that we started called the Communication and Marketing Committee. Trustee Kim.
Well, since the person hasn't been hired yet, there isn't much to say. But I just wanted to say that I'm glad it's there, and it's in response to a lot of people who wanted more transparency and wanted to know more of how to be involved in what Mundelein is doing, and it's going to also start our social media campaign, and it's going to be a lot of great stuff to promote Mundelein and have people move here, seeing all the great things we do. So I'm excited to start that.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Next, Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. Trustee Abernathy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution ratifying the amendment to the IDOT traffic signal LED upgrade program. You all have a copy of that in your TNI Exhibit 1.
I'll second the motion.
Second by Semple. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Very good. Motion carries.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I have another motion to authorize the Department of Public Works and Engineering to solicit bids for the fiscal year 14 street improvement project at the earliest possible date and time following the IDOT plan approval. And if anyone has questions, Mr. Boucher could probably answer them for you.
We need a second. Second by Semple. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The FYE 14 street improvement project, that includes phase 1 of Loch Lomond also?
Correct.
Okay, and there are still residents that have some questions and concerns about that don't feel that that's been addressed yet.
Well, you want to comment from me or Mr. Boucher?
No, I'm just commenting
Okay.
that that's still the case.
Mr. Boucher, hey, what has engineering decided to change in wording so that it has addressed some of the concerns of the residents in Loch Lomond? I know that during the campaigning there was kind of like a back and forth. So was there any changes from the original curbs and gutters
Yes, I think when we held that public hearing, we solicited that input, and I think there was a good dialogue between the residents and staff, and what we were able to come up with was a solution to or potential solution to the water quality concerns that they had, which is implementing a hydrodynamic separator, or as what was commonly referred to as one of the proprietary versions, a storm scepter, which will filter out some of those pollutants that the residents were concerned with regarding the stormwater flowing directly to the lake now versus the old ditches that they had felt had some residual water quality benefit.
And this is just to kick off the bidding process, but does this bid include the storm scepters as well?
Yes, it will.
Now, I haven't seen anything related to, once you add storm, the gutters and that for storm water collection, one of the concerns that has been expressed by residents is that this is in a property, in a subdivision that has quite a few hills, is winding, and quite a few of the residences on the lakefront are below the street level. So when you add curbs and gutters, there is a very strong potential in a very heavy rain that water could then go down the driveways and flood into some of the homes and garages. And I haven't heard anything that would address that.
Because we haven't designed any work adjacent to the lakefront at this point. And each of those phases will be evaluated on their own merit and their own potential environmental concerns.
Well, and part of why I think it's important to address it up front is that this is phase one of a 14-year project, and I think that there would be great concern if each phase had a different flavor and different items, because you could end up with a very quaint residential area that is a mismatch hodgepodge of different street configurations. So I think that's something that should be done up front, not as we go along.
Unfortunately, there are concerns, and you can't avoid that in certain situations from an engineering standpoint. So you do have to evaluate what the environmental conditions are. If you have an incredibly steep slope that would necessitate a different roadway design, you have to accommodate that regardless of the characteristic of the neighborhood in certain situations.
And again, I think this is something that should be done prior to starting the entire project versus we'll figure it out as we go along. So I'm voting no.
Kate, that we delay the project, because we could put this whole project off another year and do more studying and just tell the residents that we're not fixing roads this year. Is that what you're driving at, Trustee Meyer, or?
I'm saying that there are concerns that should be addressed before it starts, and I don't think it's unreasonable to address those concerns prior to the beginning of phase one.
And I think we've tried to do that, and what we've done is try to work from the framework that was provided in the Loch Lomond Modernization Plan that was prepared by RHMG. So we do have a framework to move forward with. It's not that we haven't evaluated it. We have evaluated it, and we're utilizing that framework to move forward with this 14-phased plan that they have provided us.
And I understand what you're saying, and I've read all the studies and the paperwork, but there are still issues that have not been addressed, so I'm still going to vote no.
Are you voting no because we have residents who aren't happy with what we've done? That's the question.
Well, and that's certainly a component of it, but I also have my own questions and concerns related to all the different studies. So yes, there are residents that have concerns, but yes, there are issues that have not been addressed when you read all the research and all the studies and look at that area. So it's bigger than just some complaints.
Okay, so because I'm not really aware that you have told the board before that you have concerns about these roads. So could you, for my benefit, because maybe I
Well,
missed that.
And part of why, in the public hearings that came up, in particular, the reference that was made with the meeting with the Loch Lomond residents, I unfortunately was out of town on business, and that would have been the public venue where some of those concerns would have been discussed.
Okay, but I'm sorry, I am asking you to share with me tonight, with this board tonight. So your concern is that you don't know the whole plan, or your concern is that the residents aren't happy with the whole plan, or your concern is that the plan has not fully addressed how every home would be handled in the event of a major rainstorm? Really, I guess I'm not really clear on so that we can get your issues addressed, exactly what they are.
I'd be more than happy to provide a list of them.
Well, since this is on tonight's agenda, wouldn't it have been appropriate to provide it tonight or before tonight?
Again, we get these agendas rather late, and no.
Okay, well,
Okay, Trustee Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I agree that there are perhaps individuals in town who have questions about this, but I think it's far more accurate to say that there are some people who don't like it, some people that do. At this point, looking at the location of the Loch Lomond street improvements that we want to bid, and looking at it somewhat as a trial, we can study this and study this and study this and study this, and when we put it in the ground, then we'll understand really finally what we're going to be dealing with. I agree. I'm concerned about the storm scepter concept. I don't think it's going to move water as effectively as a catch basin or a sheet flow concept. I know it's going to be more expensive, and I know it's going to take a lot of maintenance, and I'm concerned it's going to take a whole lot of maintenance. But this street program is already late going to bid, and that's going to cost us.
Well, and I understand that, and I recognize that the streets that we're talking about for FYE 14 don't have a lot of the characteristics that we're concerned about, and I understand that. But again, I have to say that we should address these problems before we start the entire project rather than winging it as we go along. Some of the issues relate to filling in the ditches. And if you look at some of those homes that are on a hill going down towards the lake, if you have one side of the street that's raised above the other, and then you have the street, and then you have the homes, and there's a gradual going down, right now the ditches are preventing a lot of water from going onto the street from the residents that's sitting up here. And then you have a ditch, and then you have the street, and then it goes downhill again to homes. You fill in those ditches, and instead of water going into the ditches and sitting there and having some relief prior to going on the road, now it's a straight shot. So now you've really exasperated the slope and degree of the rain running off the neighbor's yard on one side of the street, across the street, into another area of another residence. So that's just one area. There's a whole long list of concerns that really should be addressed for the entire neighborhood before we start it.
Well, my concern is that this street program get off the ground, that it gets bid, and this, I think, is a good place to start in order to get the concept in the ground so that it can be evaluated. I'm not an engineer. I haven't gone out with a transit. I've gone out with my eyes, and it would appear that, well, geographically, these streets are separated by another road from Loch Lomond, from the lake. And not all of this drainage goes to the lake. Some of it goes north, to the swamp to the north. I think this is as good a place to try these concepts of mountable curbs and the storm scepter type of catch basin and see how it works. If
And I would be
it doesn't
very
work,
concerned
and if
that
people don't like it, then we can get going at an early time to make adjustments to the plan.
And you start out a project without knowing all of the intended consequences, and you change that project every year, and there's the potential for ending up with a hodgepodge.
And the Wright brothers never would have
of
got off the
consequences.
ground. We'd still be riding horses, all right?
I-
I say put it in the ground and see how it works. And let's hear from the residents in regard to their thoughts in regard to how it works.
And you're welcome to vote however you want to vote, and I'm still going to vote
Right.
no.
Okay.
Just as a point of clarification, Mr. Boucher, we had a study done that you referred to. When was that study completed?
I believe the final draft was presented to the board in 2012.
It was
early.
presented to the board in 2012 at a cost of, do you remember?
I don't.
Okay. So this board has had, the majority of this board, besides our two new members, has had a year to study this, to talk about it, and to talk about our concerns. And so I'm with Trustee Sullivan at this point, that we've had plenty of times, if we had concerns, to talk about them. We've met with the residents, we understand what their concerns are, and we're willing, we've changed some of it to make the residents happier, but this board, we're charged with caring for the infrastructure of the village as
I
best we
understand
can, and not always are our decisions going to be making everyone happy. And I understand your point. You want the whole area dealt with cohesively as one segment, but you know what? The reality is, even if we started with that, engineering and technologies will change over the next 14 years. It's very possible that whatever we do in the first phase is not going to be still done in the 14th phase because changes are made. So we're using what our best practices and best technologies for now, and the understanding that that may change over the year. And I understand that, you know, over the years, over the 14 years of this, I understand that you want it dealt with as one and planned out over all 14 years, but I don't think that it would be prudent for this board to spend any more money with studying what could be changed as we go along because of changes in technologies and the way that we understand things.
Well, and we did have a study that I was fully supportive of, and that study was laid out very cohesively and very understandable, and we've deviated from that study in some major areas, and so that's where the concern came in, and that was something that came up recently. It was, the original study that was out there was certainly approved by me and supported by me, but when there were changes identified that were identified not too long ago, that's when some of this concern came up. And unfortunately, one of the meetings where these changes were discussed, I was out of town on business. And working in the field of new technology, I certainly understand how things change over time, and I'm fully cognizant of that principle. However, there are some things that can be addressed in concept, and the technology may change on how you deal with it, but you can still conceptually deal with how you're going to handle the entire project.
I just wanted to, I know I'm new at this, but knowing the area that we're going to be working on, I went over and talked to a resident on Dunleer, 2 on Dairy, and 2 on Dunbar this weekend. Because that's the area we're concentrating in. Those are the residents that I spoke with. They are for our plan. I understand and I know the discrepancies that people have with the whole project, and that area, and maybe we do have to have different ways we approach each area in Loch Lomond. That area, the homes are not sitting below street level. Those homes are up higher than street level. For the majority of those homes,
that is not an area where flooding will be a concern. So if we're doing it in 14 pieces, it could happen that there is 14 ways that we do this project. But like I said, the residents that I spoke to in that area, they are for the project the way that we're laying it out. They're not having an issue with it.
Anyone else? Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Do we have a motion?
No,
I
did we
had
have a motion?
Was it second?
Yeah,
We had a second. This was number 2.
Yeah.
Number 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Abernathy?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Meyer?
No.
Kim?
Yes.
Voss?
Yes.
Very good. The motion passes.
Okay.
Ready for 3.
Sorry, 3. Motion to approve and authorize the village clerk's signature on a resolution for improvement by municipality under the Illinois Highway Code appropriate $800,000 in motor fuel tax revenue to be utilized for the fiscal year 14 street improvement project.
Second.
Second by Simple. Any discussion?
The only thing, Trustee Abernathy, it's fiscal year ending.
Thank you.
So we give you a year, don't we?
Fiscal year ending.
All right. Clerk, please call the roll.
Abernathy?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Meyer?
No.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Voss?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Number 4, motion to award a contract to Black Engineering Company for the permit year ending 11 for NPDES MS4 permit compliance activities in the not to exceed amount of $20,000 and authorize the village engineer to sign the contract.
Second the motion.
Second by Simple. Any discussion?
Oh, yes, Mr. Mayor.
Trustee Sullivan.
This NPDES, I've learned over the years, stands for National Pollution Discharge Elimination System. This is a mandate. A higher level of government says that we shall spend $20,000 studying a plan, reworking a plan, reworking the process of educating our citizens in regard to controlling abnormal or harmful discharges into the waterways going through Mundelein. And that's a wonderful purpose. That's a great goal. And I fully support that goal. I don't support spending $20,000 of taxpayer money every year to do that by hiring a consultant. We are retreading a new tire every time we do this. And sooner or later, municipalities, local units of government are going to rise out of the ground and put a stop to this. Not just this mandate, but almost one every month. I see no rhyme or reason to do this every year. The goal is good. The mandate is terrible. And I will vote no.
Okay. Anyone else? Very good. Clerk, please call the roll.
Abernathy? Semple?
Yes.
Sullivan?
No.
Kim?
Present.
Voss? Yes. Meyer?
Yes.
Very good. The motion carries. Anything else? Trustee Abernathy? Okay, thank you. Other reports. We have the Hickory Woods. Let's see here. All right. This is the Second Amendment, the Builders Agreement, Amendment to Subdivision Improvement Agreement, Exhibit OTR-1. We have 4 motions regarding this. And very good. All right. First, a motion to adopt a resolution approving the Second Amendment to Annexation Agreement for the Hickory Woods subdivision. I need a motion.
Second.
Motion by Voss, second by Semple. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Voss? Yes. Semple?
Yes.
Abernathy?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Very good. The motion carries. Next, a motion to adopt a resolution approving builder's agreement, Ryland Building Elevations, Townhome Declaration, Builder's Subdivision Improvement Agreement, Re-Subdivision Plat, and Ryland Landscape Plans in the Hickory Woods development. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Second.
That was by Kim, second by Abernathy. Any discussion?
I'm looking for this. It's number 7, and it talks about we won't retail the line of credit. I don't understand what the word retail means.
Is a verb to retail?
What does that mean?
It was actually a typo. It's retain. It should
Thank
be
you.
retain.
Well, that makes it
Retain.
so much more comfortable. Okay. So I take it we're going to correct that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Just one little letter. All right.
But retain makes a lot more sense than retail. I was
Yes, it
thinking,
does.
really? Okay.
Any other discussion? All right, clerk, please call the roll.
Kim?
Yes.
Abernathy?
Yes.
Voss?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, a motion to adopt a resolution approving MV1's subdivision improvement agreement.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Sullivan,
Second.
second by Kim. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Abernathy?
Yes.
Voss?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. Finally, a motion to adopt a resolution approving deviations and sign variations in the Hickory Woods development.
I'll motion.
Motion by Kim,
Second?
second by Voss. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Kim?
Yes.
Voss?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Abernathy?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Moving on to other scheduled business, we have a series of omnibus items. If any trustee wishes to remove any of these, go ahead and please call those out.
Really?
A through P? None?
Woohoo!
Wow. All right. Do I have a motion to approve all of the omnibus items?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Voss, second by Meyer. Any discussion?
There, just one thing. On this omnibus is an amount to purchase from Clark Environmental for mosquito control. And I just want to make mention of the fact that this amount is the same. It's item F. It's the same amount that it has been for the prior 2 years.
Thank you.
Welcome.
No discussion? All right. Clerk, please call the roll.
Voss?
Yes?
Meyer?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Abernathy?
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. Moving on to village staff reports. Village Administrator, Mr. Levedo.
I just had one item tonight, Mr. Mayor, and I provided the board kind of a summary of this, the Village Hall project, and I just wanted to kind of review with the village board kind of how we see this moving forward, and also bring these 3 items that I've enumerated in the staff report, the first one being this flagpole lighting, the break room door, and this automatic entry doors. So I'll describe them first so that we're all on the same page. One of the things that we had just kind of inadvertently omitted, it's not right or wrong, but the lighting of the American flag on that pole, we're not required to light it, but we can take it, raise it and lower it every day, which we don't really want to do. and all of our other flagpoles are lit. And so this one's a little bit unique in the sense that we thought we might be able to provide some uplighting, but because of the our objective is to get a LEED gold building, the light has to be mounted at the top and shine down. So it's kind of a dark sky kind of thing, and so that's one of the requirements. And then, of course, we didn't provide for any electric to go out there because we didn't think we were going to light it. And so this amount of $4,570 includes bringing the power out there from its location in the building and creating a new circuit for that. So that's number one. Number two is, well, I'm sorry, it's $4,610. Number two is the addition of this break room. If you can remember the village floor plan, there is an employee break room at the end of this kind of open office area. And there's free access from both sides of kind of the building, the aisleways where the cubicles are. And adjacent to one of them is a series of offices. And so the more we contemplated that, and I should back up, and the other side is adjacent to some storerooms, and there really are no employees in that area. So we discussed this a little bit with the further with the employees, and thought it would be best to have a door on that location of the break room, adjacent to the office area, not only for noise mitigation, but also potentially any odors coming out of the kitchen area. So that is one that we'd like to proceed on, which is $4,570 for the installation of a door that matches the other doors, and construction of a wall. And you know, you think these are simple things, but they kind of go on and on. So that's number two. And number three is a little bit more involved. This one is, we designed the building. It was a long time, or not a long one, but we discussed the entry doors, both the east entrance and the west entrance. Now, the east entrance is a double door, which comes in off the plaza, and then there's a vestibule, and so there's two sets of doors there. And if you go to the second floor on the west side, I believe it's a single door. That's a double door. It's a single door. Thank you. It's a single door as well, but it has a vestibule up there. So there's a single door there and a double door on the other side. And when it comes to ADA requirements, you're required to, most of us are familiar with that button you hit on the side and the doors open up, and so that's ADA compliant. But it's also, which is little known, is there's also kind of a pull, number of pounds it takes to pull a door open. And if you fall underneath that maximum pounds, you can get by without having that button. So I think over time, most people have come to assimilate that button as handicap accessible, and doors that don't have that button as not being handicap accessible. But that's not true. However, the more we think about that, we think that we ought to modify the entry doors. And one of the things that we're looking at is when we take a look at high volume doors, like in retail, and the best example is probably CVS and Walgreens have these doors that slide open and they're motion sensors. So when you walk up to the doors slide open, and you walk in, the doors shut. And so there isn't this hinge action. One of the things we're concerned about the hinge action is that there's winds catch those, and we're always messing with these hinge doors because of the wind grabbing hold of them. We're also now concerned that if you have the wind force against this door, it will probably, in some instances, exceed the maximum amount of force it takes to open up a door to meet handicap accessibility. So we've been mashing this around for, it seems like forever, And we've come to the conclusion that we think that to spend this $22,000 to modify both the door on the east side and the doors on the west side, keeping in mind these are 4 sets of doors that we have to do, that we think that that would be a wise thing to do. You could install the push button, which we did provide for the electric to be there, but we weren't going to install it. So the conduit's there that we could do that. But we get back to the maintenance, the long-term maintenance of these doors. And in discussions with Pete and Weston through this design, that we think it'd probably be better to have these doors that are activated, that slide just simply, they open, they don't hinge. So that's our recommendation for that. And then 2 more things. I'll talk a little bit faster. We have a little problem with our foundation, and Mr. Swearingen is here, and Mr. Clough is here if you have specific questions. But we essentially ran into on the footing, ran into a pocket of sand that was placed there for some, we assume, some underground storage tank that was not on the list and was probably placed in there long before there were regulations. So therefore, it was unknown. We did the soil borings, I think 10 soil borings on the site of the village hall. And of course, we didn't hit the sand vein. And so, lo and behold, we opened up the ground and there's the sand. So there's modifications that are going on there. We've had to excavate all of the sand, which is about 8 feet deep, which caused the foundations to change and a redesign on this area. And the area I'm talking about is on the north side of the building. And so it's just really an unanticipated, unknown thing. And so we're working through that as we speak. But for obvious reasons, we're running behind because of all the rains that we've experienced in April. We're about 3 weeks behind schedule. And so, but regardless, they're out there pouring concrete, and we've authorized Weston to proceed to do whatever we have to do. And there's been a couple of other designs that have been floated by us, and Mr. Schupkegel's been in constant contact with Weston through this, and we're monitoring it, they're monitoring it, but that's just something that's out there that's going to have to be dealt with. And so we don't know what the total cost of that is as of yet, but we'll let you know as soon as we can.
John, I'm sorry, do you think there's contamination in that sand?
You know, I'll let, yeah, no, there isn't. The short answer.
Can I elaborate on that?
Well,
because it is a little confusing. When we initially uncovered the sand and pulled out what was necessary to do the foundation work, the sand appeared to be clean and had no odors to it. Last week, as we further dug in that area, got towards the base of what the former excavation was, which we believe was an underground storage tank, there was a small amount of contamination in the sand. So we had our environmental folks come over from the office and check the excavation, working with the construction guys. And we pulled that material out. We staged it on site. We've sampled it. It had some odors, but with our instruments, it wasn't too elevated. We weren't overly concerned, but we staged it separately on this screen. We sampled it. When we get the results back, we'll decide what the best disposition of the sand will be. If it's not above Illinois cleanup standards, we can put it back into the excavation around the footing. If it's above a standard, it'll be sent to a landfill and address that.
And we had an NFR letter, right? So,
right. Yep.
So we don't need to do anything.
We've had a short conversation with Illinois EPA about our approach, and they said that makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
So lastly, I just want to talk to the board briefly about how we're proceeding. I know there's new board members, and so I thought it would be good to have a discussion about the use of these reserve funds, which is not contingency, thank you. The project was approved with $500,000 of contingencies, but our goal, and Weston knows this is our goal, is to spend very little out of that contingency. So we're watching that very closely, but from a day-to-day operation standpoint and some practicalness to this, the board has approved the entire amount of $10.4 million. The building cost is 9.9 roughly, with $500,000 of contingency. And so what I intend to do going forward is to update the board under my report every couple weeks or at every board meeting, so that everybody's fully aware of if we're spending into the contingencies, what it's for, so you'll know right away. And then as a guide, we have an internal purchasing policy that authorizes the village administrator to spend up to $10,000 as long as it's been approved by the board and it's in the budget. And so both of those things are true. And so as a guide, if there's anything more than $10,000 and it's not an emergency to keep the project going, then I will bring those to the board. If they're under $10,000, I'll be updating the board every couple of weeks, but I will assume that the board has given me the authority based on that internal policy to go ahead and make those decisions as they come along. But because of these three that are here tonight, and they certainly exceed that amount of money, I just thought I'd bring all of those to the board tonight. So if that's okay, that's how I'll proceed. And then if the board has any questions about the doors, I know both Rick and Steve are here, that they could answer those or do whatever the board would like. But I'd like a motion on particularly that item, but all three as well.
Are you lumping all three of them together in one?
You can take them separately if there's some divergent thoughts.
None of this 31,180 doesn't include anything for the foundation.
No, unfortunately, no.
Question on it: is the solution to that going to be a caisson replacement?
Ideally, just a taller foundation.
Deeper foundation.
Right.
So that won't be as bad.
Right.
Drill down and.
Yeah.
We're at the bottom of the sand, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's all been excavated out. The foundation wall, I think, has been poured probably.
Gotten up to about within 2 foot of the bottom of the footing, and in one location of the pier, we're going to expand the footing depth to get up to the footing height of the pier on the which is about the north, 40 feet into the building.
Yeah.
North into the building. About where a mud room was, the thing was.
Yeah. Yeah, the sand vein or the sand hole extended south from that north wall into what now is affecting an interior pier pad. So falls into the category what can go wrong went wrong there. So.
Well, maybe this is the one problem for the
Right.
building.
We're hoping that you're right. We're hoping this is it, but I wouldn't hold your breath on that.
So these doors, these sliding doors, will be motion activated.
Correct.
Everybody that comes, they'll open all the way.
Correct. Yep.
Close.
Right. Yep. And just from not only a handicap accessibility standpoint, just from a convenience standpoint, you know, there's oftentimes people are coming in with their arms full with building plans and so on and so forth. And so.
On the east end, these sliders will enter into a vestibule where there's another door to go through.
Correct.
And on the top,
It'll,
there's no vestibule up there, is it?
yes.
Oh, there is?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Just so we can, just want to, if we could just give the board a ballpark on this foundation issue. Are we talking tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands? What are we, we're just...
It's tens of thousands.
There you go. Okay.
Tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands.
Right.
All right.
Well, pretty soon, talking about real money.
Don, on the break room, was that open area before without a door?
Yeah, I'm sorry to say that, I'll admit it here in front of everybody, that it was in there originally, and we asked that it be taken out early on in the design process. We didn't think we wanted it. We had this idea of open and friendly and collaborative and teamwork and all those right words. And then the more we thought about it, it's probably better to have a door there. So we changed our mind and asked them to put it back in. I think that's correct, right? Yeah.
So there'll be
Rick
a door on
reminds me of it.
both sides of the break room?
No, just on
one
the,
side?
it would be the east side. Yeah. The west side remains open.
How many automatic entry doors are?
Well, there's 4. 2 on the east side, 2 on the west side. 2 sets.
How come because I don't know, how come the break room door costs an additional almost $5,000?
Well, it's the door, the hardware, side light, the wall construction, the drywall, the painting, the ceiling connection. It's just not a door. It's all the components that go with it as well.
So it's not just that he said, let's not put a door there so that there's a frame that's exactly door size.
Oh,
There's
no,
just
no,
not
Oh, no.
Right, no, it's a lot more. I kind of simplified it, yeah.
Okay.
A little bit more.
So can we lump these together? You guys okay with that? Okay, good. Then I need a motion to approve the change orders for flagpole lighting, break room door, and automatic entry doors for a total increase of $31,180.
So
I'll
moved.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Okay, that was a motion by Sullivan, second by Voss. Any further discussion? All right, clerk, please call the roll.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Voss?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Abernathy?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. Anything else?
Just one last item. I'd like to congratulate the newly elected officials, and I look forward to working with everybody. That's all I have.
Very good. Thank you. Report from village attorney. Finally, any report from the village clerk?
No. I'm still here. Yay. There's my
She's still
report.
here. No executive session, is that correct? Okay. Very good. Before we adjourn, just want to, everyone here that made it to the end of the meeting, we are having a little homemade cookie reception across the hall if you'd like, so we welcome you there. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
So moved.
Motion by Abernathy, second by Kim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Meeting's adjourned.